Somewhere in Ireland, a man goes to visit his friend. A daily routine. Colm! No answer. Colm! You ready to go pub? His friend does not answer. After failing to get his attention, the man gives up and heads off. Fuck off. What? Our friendship is over. Go sit someplace else. Completely baffled, the man sits to drink his pint alone. This is Patrick. How do you say that fucking name? Salihib? Oh god. This is Padraig Asilohan. Asilohan? Silihuilibuan? This is Padraig Asilohan. This film is The Banshees of Inisherin, which means I'm in the wrong screen. Yes, hello. What screen is Minions 2 playing in? Screen 3? But sir, the film has already been on an hour. What? See, this is what happens when you put cinema screens directly next to each other. Thank you, I will take my popcorn to go. Why did that friendship end? Who cares? If I wanted to watch an Irish man whine, I'd go to an Ed Sheeran concert. No, I go to the movies to watch small yellow people tell each other knock-knock jokes, damn it.
In the year 2022, 3 Pinocchio movies were released. However, one stood out among the rest. A, because it was actually watchable, and B, because it's a film all about death, disguised as an adult children's stop-motion animated take on the famous tale. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio is set in Italy during World War I. While working on a statue of Christ in his local church, Geppetto loses his son Carlo in a bombing strike. To honor his memory, Geppetto plants the pine cone his son was carrying on the day of his passing beside his grave. Over the next 20 years, the pine cone grows into an almighty tree.
Hey, a god! What the fuck? The last 20 years have been a shite. You took away my only son, my beloved Carlo, and I demand to know how you're going to make this right. Oh, okay, you don't want to listen? Fine. You take something of mine, then I take something of yours. Hiya!
Geppetto, please don't kick my tree.
Oh, okay. You do hear me. So what are you going to do about my son, eh?
Look, it's not like I can just bring Mikado back. The numbers would be all out and, we have audits up here.
Oh, I see. You carry on making excuses, huh? And I'll just carry on doing this.
Geppetto, stop! You can chop down my tree, build a new son out of wood, and have a fairy bring him to life, but it won't bring little Pistachio back. I think I've said too much.
Geppetto chops down the tree in a drunken rage to build himself a new son, Pinocchio. Pinocchio is brought to life by magic and discovers early on that he cannot die in the traditional sense. At first, Pinocchio sees this as something of a superpower, but as explained to him by this weird cat's-lion thing he meets in the afterlife, after he dies for the first time, it's something more of a curse.
While you may have eternal life, your friends, your loved ones, they do not.
Of course, this is not the first time death has been featured in a movie that can be watched by children. However, I do think it's one of the most mature representations I've seen in a long time. Once the film has reached its climax, we see Pinocchio's loved ones, the characters we've gotten to know so well over the past 2 hours, pass away one by one. However, in Del Toro's Pinocchio, death is not something to be feared. Instead, it's depicted as so everyday and normal that we end the film hoping that Pinocchio too will one day die. It's a great message, not just for younger viewers, but audiences of any age, and it's a refreshing take on death that is seldom seen in cinema. Death unites every living thing on the planet, yet is still treated as a taboo subject. Del Toro's film is not about avoiding the thought of death, but also not living in fear of it either. It's about cherishing the time you do have, whether it be long or short, and realizing that time is made so special by the fact it comes to an end. As Ewan McGregor said,
choose unfulfilled promise and wishing you'd done it all differently. Choose never learning from your own mistakes. Choose watching history repeat itself. Choose the slow reconciliation towards what you can get, rather than what you always hoped for. Settle for less and keep a brave face on it. Choose disappointment.
sorry, wrong Ewan McGregor performance.
What happens, happens. And then, we are gone.
Oh, fuck.
One eternity later.
Thank you, next. Where are your wings?
What? I don't have any wings.
How'd you get up here then?
I don't know. I floated up like everyone
Cause
else.
of death.
Ice cream truck.
Oh, not colon cancer?
What? I didn't have colon cancer. Did I?
Identification? Okay, mister. Narrator. I'll just process this and we'll get you all set up with a room kit. Ah, see here? 2 unreturned library books. See, that's why you don't have your wings. So, I'm gonna send you to hell now. Unless you think the computer has made an error, then I'll have to temporarily send you to limbo while the decision is contested.
Oh, no. I don't want to waste anyone's time. Wait a minute. I returned those library books last week. Yes, I want to contest.
Well, it could also be because you called Ed Sheeran whiny and, Irish. Really, it is a lot of paperwork to contest for computer. Can you just go to hell? What's with the goddamn hold up? In a minute, sir. Fine. Enjoy your stay in limbo. But the second the computer finds you to be a dirty, filthy sinner, you're going straight to hell.
And cuts! Okay, we'll practice that fall again later. For now, let's roll out the limbo sets. What do you reckon? Is he looking deathly enough? Aye.
Mr. Doherty, sir, is that emote enough this time?
You're still not emoting enough, Kevin. Not nearly enough. And another thing. Excuse me. Golm, I don't understand. I've not seen y'all for days. You don't answer your phone. Have I done anything to you? I need an explanation. You owe me that. Look, I was too harsh on you before. I know that. You haven't done anything to me. I just know my time is limited. But if I create a work of art, a masterpiece,
Mr. Doherty, sir? Come quick! I think I'm missing a whisker.
then that can live forever. Needless to say, I can't be wasting any more time chatting shite with simpletons like you down the pub. Yeah, well, I don't think it's very nice to abandon your friends. Noise? Who gives a fuck about noise? No one remembers noise. They remember Mozart, Beethoven, Ed Sheeran. I don't remember any of those people. What you're doing is immoral.
Warning: the following section of the video contains subject matter that some viewers may find upsetting. However, if Drowned Teenagers is your jam, then by all means, stick around. Lake Mungo is a 2008 Australian horror film directed by Joel Anderson. Structured in the form of a true crime mockumentary, the film is centered on the Palmer family, who have recently lost their 16-year-old daughter, Alice, in a drowning incident. In separate interviews, each family member details their accounts of the increasingly supernatural events that followed the tragedy. What starts out with hearing the odd, unusual sound in their family home quickly descends into capturing full-on ghosts on cameras set up by son Matthew. In her interview, Mother June describes a series of nightmares, one including the terrifying image of her drowned corpse daughter standing at the foot of the bed staring back at her. Obviously still reeling from the tragedy, the Palmers begin to believe they are being haunted by Alice, and the family reach out to Ray, a psychic who visits the home in an attempt to contact her. As the family get to know him, it is revealed in the months prior to her death, Alice reached out to Ray. She was experiencing nightmares about her impending death. Now, watching Lake Mungo purely as a horror film, I started to get kind of frustrated with it. Pretty much all of the scares go like this.
So like, we took the photograph, and everything looked pretty normal. But then we looked closer. Still pretty normal. But then we took another look, and you can see there's a ghost in there.
However, at a very certain point, my presumptions were shattered, and I realized I was watching something so much more profound than your average quiet jump scare flick. This moment came when the family discovered Alice's diary and tapes of her one-on-one meetings with Ray. It is here we are given the perspective of the family's increasingly withdrawn daughter.
I feel like something bad is going to happen to me. I feel like something bad has happened. It hasn't reached me yet, but it's on its way.
From reading her diary, Mother June wipes away tears as she learns that Alice has had the same nightmare as her, in which Alice is stood at the foot of her parents' bed. However, in Alice's dream, she is unable to speak and is overwhelmed with an unbearably sad reality that she is completely alone and no one can help her. The family believe Alice is not haunting them without purpose. She wants them to discover the painful parts of her personal life she kept hidden from them while she was alive, including a sexual encounter with the family's neighbors, a married couple Alice had babysat for since she was 13. In the film's final act, the Palmers described a trip Alice took with her friends to Lake Mungo, in which she returned, completely distressed. They discovered that while on the trip, she had buried her phone, a phone that contains her final secret. After retrieving it, they find a piece of grainy camera footage Alice had recorded while separate from her friends, where she comes face to face with her own drowned corpse. Following this horrifying discovery, the family, now having a far better understanding of their daughter, feel a certain calm in the house. Alice's family know her secrets, and now that she has closure, can rest in peace. The film has its fair share of scares, but I think so much more notable is its take on death. It captures the absolute sadness and loneliness of death like nothing else I've seen, and tackles it with an unexpectedly gentle touch. It is certainly not wholly negative about the subject. In fact, I think it's quite optimistic. Alice has her life dramatically cut short and leaves a gaping hole in her family. But her family come together to give her and themselves the closure she wasn't able to give herself in life. To me, it felt like a positive take on grief. In fact, they actually end the film closer than they were before this tragedy, not just with each other, but with Alice as well. Just to note, this film works as well as it does because of the incredible cast. Each family member was not so much given a script, more of an outline of what their characters were experiencing at the time, which gave them free rein to improvise. The whole thing feels so real and makes for an incredibly immersive watch.
Self I possess, through life to death. You go y'all, yes I'm Mr. Upfront Fresh. My level is seldom seen. Few and far between them fools, they couldn't douse my king. Lean to the mean, proper Brad Picky head. Strapped in the place, strapped down, I get sunset to sunset. We don't sweat yet, cool, we don't fret. By the depths them hold me, I'm picky with precision. I made my decision then. Death itself can't hold us down.
Oh, mutter, 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 mutter.
Patrick, it's 2 o'clock in the goddamn morning.
Oh, I'm sorry, sister. It's just this whole calm situation.
Oh, he still doesn't like you?
No, of course he likes me. He's just distracted by his play is all.
His play? What's it about?
Death, I think. And, the meaning of life? You know what? Nothing. It's about fucking nothing.
Sounds like you don't get it.
I get it. I get it plenty. I just choose not to be part of pretentious shites. Mutter, 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 mutter.
Jesus! Patrick! Go pace somewhere else!
Mutter, mutter, mutter. Wanna live forever calm? Well, not if I have something to say about it.
That year, when I thought I was going to die, was one of the most significant years of my life.
In 2014, musician Wilko Johnson was told he had terminal cancer and given around 10 months to live. The ecstasy of Wilko Johnson tells the story of what happened next. To most, this would be the worst news in the world. However, to Wilko, he felt as if the doctor was telling him something he had known all of his life. In the documentary, he describes leaving the doctor's office on a cool winter's day seeing the trees against the sky and experiencing a feeling of absolute elation.
Suddenly everything lifted off of me. Present, future, past. It was all concentrated down into the moment.
It's a common desire to live in the moment. A state of being Wilco admits is quite the challenge, as we're so distracted by our day-to-day lives and maintaining our role as a functioning member of society. However, it was here, in being given seemingly a death sentence, that Wilco Johnson began to experience life to its very fullest.
The idea that death is imminent really makes you realise what a wonderful thing it is to be alive.
One of the first things Wilco did following the revelation was go to Japan. Upon visiting a monastery in Kyoto, he describes observing the most incredible scene. He looked out amongst the temple roofs and saw snow start to fall, and the snow became golden in the sunlight. Usually, upon witnessing something like this, he would try to impress the memory into his brain for future reference. But since there was not going to be a future, there was nothing to do but simply experience it there and then. Something he describes actually being able to accomplish. The diagnosis inspired Wilco's farewell tour, in which he treated every performance as a goodbye to his fans. Wilco's outlook on death in the documentary is incredibly positive. He describes death as essentially being our usual state. We are dead for most of the time the universe has existed. We're alive for a blip, and then we return to oblivion. Whereas death is something that hangs over every individual, like the great unknowable threat, Wilco takes great comfort in the fact that his mortality is, in his words, established and sorted out. However, while Wilco is not afraid of dying, he understands what it's like for the people around him, having lost his wife of 40 years, also due to cancer.
Irene, good night. Good night, Irene. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dream.
10 months passed, and Wilco is still feeling healthy and happily performing. Roger Daltrey of The Who approached him with the prospect of recording an album. With the terms that they do it quickly, Wilco agreed, and an album was recorded in 8 days. But then, death had other ideas. Charlie Chan, a photographer and surgeon, came to one of Wilco's performances and could not believe that a man with his prognosis would seemingly appear so full of life 18 months in.
He was saying, if I had the normal pancreatic cancer, I should have been dead. I shouldn't have been prancing around on stage.
Chan believed he could remove Wilco's tumor. At a 17% chance of success, the prospect that the procedure could kill or cure him sounded pretty good to Wilco, who basically had nothing to lose. Against all odds, the operation was a success, and Wilco's death sentence was lifted. When he received what he describes as the verdict, his life changed in an instant, and everything was different. However, when he came out the other side of his operation, his life certainly didn't change back. But maybe that was a good thing. As he began his recovery and returned to the world, he hoped to carry the lessons he learned along with him. I think we all hope we'd react to receiving a death sentence in a similar way to Wilco. However, there's no reason why we can't aspire to live like this anyway. In the documentary, Wilco describes the frustration in not figuring out before that it's only the current moment that truly matters.
I would say it was a marvellous year. I found out what it was to be alive. I've had so many insights into existence that I'm almost glad this happened. Yeah, almost.
I just don't understand why I'm down here.
Well, what they tell you up at the gates?
Unreturned library books?
Oh, that's bullshit. They always say that. Do you need closure for something? It's usually closure. The girl that was here before you, the stuff she had to reveal to her parents, dark shit.
Oh no! What happened here? This doesn't look accidental. Well, I'm sure whoever did this had a perfectly justified explanation. I would have remembered your calm. I would have remembered nice. Aware of his impending mortality, Colm decided that he had two options. To live out his twilight years as a friend to his friends, likely to be forgotten after his death, but known as a good man during his short time on this earth. Or to dedicate himself entirely to his art and reject the people closest to him, to be remembered at the cost of his very humanity. He chose the latter, and the Banshees asked the question, was this decision worth it? Personally, I don't understand why you can't do both. The unrelenting passage of time is daunting, especially when we know we are running out of it. But you can make your stamp while not being a dick. If you have to sacrifice your friends and the people you care about during the very precious time that you're on this earth for the good of your art, then no, I don't think it's worth it. Life is about living, not about reminding people you are alive.
With our huge range of cloud views, you'll wish eternity was longer. Heaven Estates.
Well, I'm glad you got something out of that movie, because I didn't understand a damn thing with you talking over it. Maybe he did talk over it, but this fella has also just shown us that he has an acute understanding of what it is to be alive. And Wilson, I just can't understand why you're down here. Holy smokes! Where did they come from? Ahoy hoy?
Yes, hello. Am I speaking to last name, narrator, first name, the?
Speaking.
Ah, well, good. So, turns out you had returned those library books. I was just looking at the record of the customer before you. I hope you don't mind us nearly condemning you to the fiery pits for all eternity. These things happen. So, I'll ask you to make your way up to heaven now. Thank you for choosing Heaven Estates. Goodbye.
Well, I'll be.
I was surrounded by 50 million strong.